Hey guys, it's Edley and welcome back to my channel.
Original girl, you want a replica? No. Smoothie, no regular. No. Pretty for real, I'm pretty from my cellular. No. You don't say you hot. No. They never had a pretty.
Today's video is going to be a story time. As you guys can see from the title, this is going to be my story. I think it's finally time I tell it. So yeah, this is basically going to be the story time of me leaving my Haitian household, living by myself, going out into the world by myself. And yeah, obviously I can't get this all into one video, so this is basically going to be the timeline from when I graduated high school up until when I moved to Windsor. So from 18 years old to like 20. So yeah, grab whatever you need, grab a snack, grab a drink, whatever you guys need to watch the video, and let's get into it because it's really crazy when I talk about it. So yeah, I did go ahead and put everything into my notes because I don't want to forget things, because it's a lot to remember, because now I'm 25, right? So it's been like what, 7 years since I graduated high school. Yeah, 7 years. So a lot has happened, and if anyone told me when I graduated high school that this is how my life would have went, number one, I would have called them a hater. I would have thought they were hating on me and calling bad things on me. And number two, I would have just denied it. Like, I would have said, yeah, I would have definitely said could never be me. Yeah. So that's why I don't say could never be me anymore. So yeah, basically how, like I said, I left a Haitian household. So basically what my Haitian household was like at that point, I was only living with my mom. So my parents were no longer at least living in the same place. I can't say they were fully not together. They were still doing their dance. And if you have Haitian parents, you might know what I mean by they were doing their dance. But that's what it was like in terms of where I was laying my head in high school. So like I said, we all know Haitian parents, and I'm not going to get on my parents too bad because by God's grace, like, I have parents that, you know, have been willing to take accountability, have been willing to recognize maybe some things they thought were right that were wrong, and they've been able to apologize for a lot of things. So this is not going to be me just like badgering like my parents or anything like that, because we've reconciled, we've forgiven each other, and we moved on. But the story is incomplete if I don't talk about what things were like at the time. So boom, living in a house, you know, like, you guys know how it can be with Haitian parents sometimes. Like, I feel like where they're getting at us, like, it's coming from a right place, right? Like, wanting your kids to succeed, wanting your kids to do well, wanting your kids to not fall into bad things is, you know, it's a correct feeling, but the way they go about it is what kind of pushes their kids away from them, and it takes accountability to recognize that, right? So, and additionally from that, you know, Haitian parents can be very hardworking. And, you know, growing up in Canada, like, it wasn't always easy. Like, I've been in the social assistance, I've been in government housing, like, you know, so it wasn't always easy for us. So I can see that there was a lot of times that maybe the way my mom was reacting to those dishes, to me, I'm like, yo, why am I a macaque? Why am I mal élevé over, you know, over some dishes? But now that I'm old, I realize, okay, like, they were going through all of these hardships. They were going through all of these hard times. They were stressed. They have anxiety, depression. Now that I know what bills are actually like, I can see that the root of their reaction against us was in their own stuff, like in their own stress. It doesn't make it right, but it wasn't necessarily just because, oh, they hate us and they want to yell at us all the time, you know? It was like, when you could look at our culture, we don't really have a culture that is high advocacy for mental health or high advocacy for, you know, saying when you need help, or, you know, like, being able to talk to your parents and say, yo, mommy, you know, like, mommy, you said, you know, we don't really have that relationship, or we don't have that culture that really fosters that relationship. So yeah, like, so now we have just a whole bunch of people who are taking out their anger on each other, and they're realizing, you know, maybe I don't need to be yelling at my kid like this over their room. My kid's room is dirty. Okay, I have a teenager, their room is dirty. Before I yell at them and call them all the names in the book and tell them how they're, you guys know how it gets. You guys know how it gets. We've all heard our fair share of it, but you guys know how it gets. Like, instead of like talking to your kid like, yo, like, what's going on? Because now that I'm mature, I understand a dirty room is often a sign of mental health unrest. Like, when you're not good mentally, when you're not good up here, it's going to reflect in your other spaces. Why? Because a lot of the times you want to feel like, oh, I can bottle up my emotions, but that's not realistic. The way your brain works, your brain is still going to fight to release those subconscious things some way. So sometimes that's through your productivity. So now I'm not talking about my emotions, but my brain is acting out those emotions. So like, I don't have the productivity or as much motivation to clean my room or do certain things. Some people, it goes as far as, not being able to shower, not be able to brush their teeth, not be able to maintain themselves. And, before you just like judge those people or judge those actions, you should think like, you should recognize that oftentimes there's a reason behind it. Like, there's dirty people, but there are times where you are going through some kind of mental health time where, like, your room is not going to be the cleanest. And the thing is, oftentimes the way our parents get at us, it's not like the room is dirty for real. It's just not up to their standard. And you can have a simple conversation with your children without making them feel like they're the worst person in the entire world and they're good for nothing and they never did nothing good in their entire lives and you hate them. So, yeah, like, at that time, in that type of Haitian, at the time in that household, it could be very hostile at moments, and I was dealing with really bad anxiety. And it's funny because my parents also have anxiety as well, but now that I know that they're able to like speak on these things and like, I can recognize that a lot of their responses were anxiety fueled responses, depression fueled responses, stress fueled responses. But at the time, I did have really, really bad anxiety throughout high school. I was having panic attacks. I was having anxiety attacks. And no shade to me, Madre. No shade to me, Madre, okay? Like I said, I've reconciled with my parents, but I'll never forget one time in high school that around this time I had gotten into my university, which I'm going to get into, and like, I had to go for orientation, so I had to buy a plane ticket. And like, I'm my mom's eldest, so I've always been, like really responsible in that sense, or was very independent in that sense. So I was the one and still am the one who's planning everything to do with my life for real. But, it was up to me to kind of buy my ticket and plan out my orientation because, like I'm about to tell you guys, I got into school to New York. So I remember, like, we were trying to buy the ticket, but you want to get a good price. So you're supposed to stay up till like 2, 3 a.m. to get a good price. And I ended up falling asleep. And then I think my mom woke me up in the morning around like 6 or something like that for school the next day. And I told her I had fell asleep and that I didn't buy it. And bro, the reaction that came from that, I ended up having a panic attack. And then when I told her that I was having a panic attack, she like questioned like whether I had anything to be stressful about. Like, you guys know how parents can be, oh, you don't have anything to stress about, you're just a kid. Like, what could you be panicking about? What could you have anxiety about? But it's like, I can have anxiety over a lot of things, right? Like, especially like the way my nerve system has come to be or was like so on edge or so anxious and so avoidant is because, there was a point in time where I was living with both of my parents and like, it wasn't the greatest of times. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. I thank God I can laugh now, but it wasn't a really good time. So, as a child growing up in an environment where there's two adults fighting, and in the way that the fights are happening, like, you could be smiling right here and an argument happens in the next 30 seconds. And that I feel like it's through that period of my childhood where my anxiety really, really built itself. And that's when I started to have panic attacks. And there is a difference, but a panic attack is something that kind of happens out of nowhere. So, and it, like, for example, with an anxiety attack, I can like be right now in this moment. Maybe I'm thinking about something, or maybe something happened, and for that particular reason I have an anxiety attack. Like my heart is racing, my palms are sweaty, or at least that's what usually happens to me. But I was having a panic attack, so that's something that happens randomly. Like I would just be sitting in school and I just feel my heart racing, and I just feel my palms getting sweaty, and I just feel myself getting lightheaded. Like it was pretty bad, y'all. It was pretty bad. And again, like I don't come at my parents in a way like, again, I know that there's layers to this Haitian parent stuff, so I'm gonna put my parents around here. I'm gonna put them in the middle, because although yes, they had a lot of those stereotypical things, they were not like, I could tell my parents still love me at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, I knew that if worse came to worse, if I had to call them, whatever the case is, that I'd be able to rely on them. So if you had something worse, like your parents were like, when people talk about how their parents were selling them and stuff like that, I can't really speak to that. I can't tell you how to react to something like that, because I don't know how I would react to something like that, So yeah, I'm not going to tell you guys how to maneuver with your Haitian parents, because I know it's all different, but hopefully I can give somebody hope to recognize that it doesn't stay bad forever, bro. Like, anyways, let's get into it. That is just what my household was like. So boom, graduate high school. I graduated with honors. I did really well in my last 2 years. I think my average was like 85% plus. And because of all these things I explained to you about the layers in my Haitian household, I was kind of in a mindset when I graduated high school that I wanted to run as far away as possible. So I was born in Florida. So I had in my mind that, okay, I'm in Canada. I hate Canada. I'm only here because my parents brought me here, because my dad brought me here. So I'm going to go to school in the States. I didn't think about how I was going to afford it. I didn't think about how much it was going to cost. I didn't think about what it was going to look like. The only thing I thought about was, I don't want to be in this house anymore. I'm running away. Without running away, for real, right? Because obviously I just went to school. So I did my SATs. I got an 1100 on my SATs, period. I know it's not the highest score ever, but it was pretty good. I got an 1100 on my SATs, and I studied by myself, mind you. So all of those American versions of learning math, English, whatever the hell it was, history, whatever the heck is in the SAT, because I forgot. I taught myself all that stuff. I bought myself the big SAT study prep book. I studied for the SAT, I did it, and then I applied to the schools in the States. So that's one thing about me. Like, I've always been an extremely driven individual. Like, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that's why God had to humble me in a lot of ways, because I put a lot of faith in my own works, in my own hands, and, in my own abilities. So once I applied, I applied to school in Canada as well. So I got into UFT Mississauga. I got into the University of Windsor. I got into, where else did I apply to in Canada? I forgot. I would have to find that. But I think I know I at least got 2 or 3 acceptances. And then for the US side, I applied to SUNY Albany, and I got in. And I also got into Clark Atlanta University. And I think I applied to FAMU, Florida Agriculture, whatever. And I don't think I ended up getting in, if I'm not mistaken. If my memory serves me right, I think I might have got into all 3. But anyways, those were the schools I got into. And as soon as I got that acceptance to that New York school, I knew I was going. But let me tell you guys how I actually decided I was going to this school. Off of YouTube videos, like, like, there's a couple people that went to that school that used to vlog, and they used to be on YouTube, and I watched their videos, and I'm like, yeah, this is the school I'm going to. And I'm telling you guys, like, to be an ambitious person is good, but to be an ambitious person with no direction, like, bro, like, I'm telling you, I did not think it through. I never once researched how much my tuition was going to be. Not once. I didn't know how much my tuition was going to be until I was already in New York, semester already gone, and they were asking me for the money. And that's when I realized, oh, it's 20 bands a semester. $20,000 a semester? $20,000 USD a semester. I still went though, and I had a time. I had me a time. I'm not even gonna lie. So yeah, I got into Albany, and basically right after graduation, I basically started preparing myself to know that I was moving to the States by August. I believe move-in was August 23rd or August 24th. And I'm about to add so many Snapchat clips in for you guys because I still have all my videos. So yeah, I think around like June or July we had orientation. So oh my gosh guys, I literally took the Greyhound. I think I took the Greyhound for like 13 hours because my parents couldn't come with me at the time because like money wise my mom didn't have her citizenship yet. I definitely had, me, my dad and my sister definitely had our citizenship, but my mom didn't have hers yet. So it was just kind of sticky for anyone to bring me and then work and time off, whatever. So I had to take a Greyhound. So I took a Greyhound to orientation. But before that happened, I was joining like little different group chats on Facebook or whatever. Like, you know, what year was that? Class of 2020. I mean, I was supposed to be class of 2023. So, you know, I'm joining the group chats, oh, class of 2023, whatever. And I start adding people on Snapchat or whatever. So then we get us a whole group chat going for all the people who was about to be first years. And this was how I ended up meeting my roommate. So literally for a couple months before orientation even happened, we were having like group FaceTimes regularly. I was texting my roommate regularly. I'm actually pretty sure I found my roommate before we even graduated high school, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember signing up for my residence in class in high school. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew my roommate way longer before I knew everyone else. But this is when we started meeting people. This is when I met like a few prominent people that, you know, I still talk to this day. So yeah, like, you know, everything was gravy. We went to orientation. I'm gonna add in all the orientation clips right now. Let me just be honest, guys, like, I came from a pretty strict household. Like, I was not going to no parties in high school the way everyone was going to parties. You know, I wasn't outside the way everyone was outside when they were 16, 17. So for me to finally start seeing what my freedom is gonna look like, I'm not gonna lie, I was hot in the ass. I was hot in the ass. I was way too giddy. I was very, very, very naive. Very, very naive. And I was ripe for the picking. And the only reason I didn't get caught up by a serial killer, or didn't get found dead in a ditch somewhere, is only because the grace of God, because yeah. So orientation was a lot of fun. I think it was like 3 days or something like that. And then I came back home, and then we moved in August 23rd, August 24th ish. And I'm not gonna lie, through the whole summer, my mom was trying to talk about like, okay, how much is this school? What are you gonna do? What's it gonna be like? And I would just tell her, oh, I'm getting OSAP, because I got OSAP and I forgot what they call it in the States, FAFSA. I got FAFSA and I got OSAP. So I'm here telling her like, oh, you know, I'm going to be getting all this money and whatever. But I'm telling you, again, I did not even know how much my tuition was going to be for real. And then mind you, yes, I'm telling you guys that she was asking me. But again, if you know what Haitian parents can be like, you know the way these conversations actually went. And by this time, I had built up a very, very big defense barrier, you know? So when you're somebody who has a defensive type of chip on your shoulder, it doesn't matter how people talk to you, you're going to feel attacked regardless. So any type of question, any type of conversation would automatically feel like an attack with her. So I just didn't even get into it. So there was definitely you know, my parents did try to plan with me, so it didn't have to end up with me going all the way to this school and spending $20,000 USD. But at the time, that was just my mindset. Like, I wasn't hearing it. At the time, I thought I was grown. I was 18. You couldn't tell me nothing. I know everything about the entire world. I'm the smartest girl ever. Like I said, now I know I was full of pride. Oh my gosh. I was full to the brim of pride. So there was no getting to me. Like, I decided I'm going, so I'm going. Like, I can still be that person now, but within reason, right? So that was the mindset that I had going into it. But we basically had to drive, I think 6 or 6.5 hours from Toronto all the way to Albany, New York. and we went through the Buffalo, border. Yeah. So basically, because my mom wasn't a citizen at the time, we literally had to drop her off at Niagara, and then my dad and my sister came and brought me to Albany. Then they dropped me off, and then they went back for my mom. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy now that I think about it. That's why I'm saying, like, as much as my parents had, like, you know, their little habits or whatever, their love and their support was never, like, not there. So I can't fully grudge them. I could never fully grudge them. I could never fully say, oh, no, I could never do that. So yeah, they dropped me off. I'll never forget the second. So then, okay, so we get to Albany, whatever. I get my room key, whatever. We bring everything to my room. So we go to Walmart. We grab my little snacks, my ting ting dems, you know, my mattress cover, my comforter, and all of that. I'm going to show you guys how I decorated my room and everything. But I will never forget the second I did this to my dad and my sister. The second I waved them away like this, oh, it was over with. Guys, it was over with. It was over with. Freedom? Freedom. And that's what I'm saying, like, I'm not telling parents to have their kids everywhere outside all the time. I'm not telling you that, because that's not cute. But once your kids get to a certain age, and you know there's certain things they're going to be interested in or doing when they're no longer in your house, you want to be the person to introduce them to that. You want to be the one to show them the ropes. I'm not telling you that you have to get your kids drunk or anything like that. But I feel like if I had parents, or my mom at the time, because we were living with her when I was in high school, if we had a little bit of leeway, I'm not saying we had to be everywhere all the time, but you know, when mans were doing their little going to CNE, when they're going to Wonderland, when they're going to the movies and doing calm stuff, and yeah, they're out a little bit later in the night, not till no 4 a.m. like, you know, I am now as a grown adult. But you know, if I had already had that experience, I probably wouldn't have been so hot in the ass to be so outside. Because did we go out that same night? I am pretty sure we went out that same night. I'm pretty sure we went out that same night, if I'm not mistaken. If we didn't go out that night, we went out the next night. And let me tell you guys, like, it was a time. Albany was a time. Like, and this was during the Pink Whitney era. This is when Pop Smoke was going crazy. Like, he was just coming out. This was when Big Drip was the biggest song out. Like, it was fun. Like, I remember there was a bus, like the public transit bus would come from campus and would drop you off. Like, basically all the parties were downtown, so we would all go downtown, and the buses would run till like 2 a.m. So if you're really on it, like, you could end up taking the bus to the party and then taking the bus back home, so you don't even have to worry about an Uber. Like, it was lit. I'm gonna include clips, as many clips as I have of those house parties and those days. Like, a vibe.
Bro, niggas stand to the left. Rich niggas stand.
Like, a vibe. Like, I always think about, like, you know, what would it be like if I grew up in the States? What would it be like if I grew up in New York, or if I grew up in Florida? But you know, I'm exactly where God intended me to be. But it was a lot of fun, guys. But I was also ripe for the picking and making a lot of stupid decisions. But one thing though, I was never that girl getting blackout. Yes, I got drunk for the first time when I went to school in New York, but I was never the girl at the party, blackout, drunk, you know, embarrassing myself, sloppy all over the place. That was never me. And I thank God. Like, yes, I was lacking brain cells and I was lacking my frontal lobe, but I was not a complete dunce. And that's all that matters to me. Oh my gosh. But back to the point of, like, you know, me talking about like being in a strict household or whatever. I just saw in my notes that I put down a funny story to tell you guys. So one time in high school, I asked my mom if I could go to the movie theaters with Stephanie and Gadria, two of my close friends. And she told me no because she doesn't want me to be become a lesbian. Like as if we were gonna be in the movie theater touching on each other or something. Homosexuality is not a disease you catch in the air. It's either you are or you're not. So it's like so that's what I'm saying. Strict parents breed sneaky kids, because something as simple as the movie theater, like we're just going to the movies. Like I'm not even at that point in time. I think this was early high school. I wasn't even thinking about anything sexuality related. Like I know we're living in a different time and age now, but I wasn't worried about any of that stuff. Like that was definitely not on my mind. I like boys. And you know, at that time when I asked her, I was being honest about where I wanted to go, and I was being honest about who I was with. But I'm telling you guys, when strict parents are strict with their children, you guys might think your kids are the best in the world, but they just learn how to get away with it. I'm telling you, because at the end of the day, once you're 18, you're 19, like, I'm not saying, oh, just let me go outside clubbing every night or let me go party every night. But something as simple as just going out and hanging out with my friends, like it shouldn't be an issue. Like you work with your child, you help them build those habits so that they don't just go outside and find out for themselves, because I sure did. But if it was not for the grace of God, guys, oh, Lord knows where I would be. But yeah, like that's one of the funny stories I have to say. So like, I'm going to be honest for myself. I didn't stop asking. I just started lying. The cat's out the bag. The cat is out the bag. I just started lying because the desire does not go away. The desire to hang out with your friends, the desire to go out to eat. And like, that was genuinely what I was doing. But you see, if I didn't have to lie about it, then it wouldn't have been so easy for me to get into the things that I shouldn't have been doing. You catch my drift? So yes, let me see. Yeah, so we were going to these parties. I'm gonna add all the house parties for you guys. Honestly, in my opinion, that's probably one of the littest schools in the United States of America. I'm not gonna say because I haven't been to any other ones, but it's probably one of. But through this time, I kept up my hair business. You know, I was doing the little braid ups for $15, $20. But the wigs I installed at this time, they haunt me. They haunt me. Like, I'm gonna show you guys the wigs I installed on myself, but if I show you guys what people paid me to install on them, I'm haunted. Like, if these people ever messaged me any day in time in life and said, yo girl, I'm still mad, can I have my money back? I will send them their money back. Because the thing is, I told you guys, I'm ambitious. I'm going to make that dollar. I'm not going to sell my coochie. I'm not going to be doing up no sugar daddy business, but I'm going to make my money. And at that point in time, I had no business laying lace on nobody's head, but I had to do what I had to do. And genuinely, guys, I don't know how I survived in New York. Because one thing about me, I was ordering wings and garlic knots like every other week. I was spending money for somebody who was jobless and doing hair for $15, $20. But the thing is, I caught me a couple of regulars. So then once I caught some regulars, I would automatically get their roommates. So I think I had like probably 2 sets of roommates that were on my regular rotation at some point. So that means like every couple of weeks, I'm walking around with a little $30, $40, $50, $60. And that's all you need as a broke college student. But guys, with that dining hall, them garlic knots and them wings, I put me on a freshman 40. Have my lips been dry the whole time? I'm gonna be so mad. Let me put some lip gloss on. But y'all, I put me on a freshman 40. Everyday hamburger. Everyday hamburger. Yo. Like, bro. When you see big Americans, just know that the food is that good, bro. The food. And that was the first, like, mind you, we never even had juice that much in my household. Like, we had juice, but we had juice a little bit more when we were living with just my mom. But we were never so juiced up. Like, everyday hamburger, fries, juice, sandwich, wrap, juice, wings, garlic knots, processed food, bare frozen food. Oh my gosh, I used to bust up a frozen breakfast sandwich. But through it all, through the partying, through the craziness, through all my eating, guys, my grades were amazing. My grades were top tier, like Dean's List top tier. Like my grades were really, really good. Like I was getting 90s on my finals. So I'm here like, yeah, like I'm doing the thing. Like I'm going to class, I'm doing people's hair, I'm joining student groups. Like I even joined this little dance group. And I mean, I made it in. Like I tried out and I made it in and never ended up dancing with them. I don't know why, but I just never ended up dancing with them. But, you know, I'm doing all of my things, joining the Haitian Student Association. I'm vibing. I'm doing all my things. And then November hits. And now I have an appointment with my guidance, my advisor. And he's asking me how I plan on paying for my tuition. Guys, when I opened up my student account and I saw $20,000... $20,000. Mind you, I got into Windsor. I got into UFT Mississauga. I still could have left my house, but I was so fixated on, nah, I gotta go to the States. I gotta go to the States. And that's why I'm sitting down and recording this story time. That is why I'm going to speak my testimony from the hilltop, because I know, like, especially the fact that I'm the eldest daughter, like, bro, I've been reading government documents since I was 10 years old, cooking, cleaning, 10 years old, watching over me and my sister, 10 years old. So I didn't realize that it built me this type of pride and independence. Like, no, I'm going to do it myself. I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it. I didn't realize how stubborn it made me until it was too late. But thankfully, my too late had me land in the hands of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, my grades are amazing, and I'm gonna include those as well. My grades were amazing. Like I did really, really, really well. So that kind of showed me, okay, when I'm not at home, I do enjoy having my freedom, but I also am still responsible. Like, mind you, I wouldn't go out if my assignments weren't done. Like, I would make sure my assignments were all good for the week before I would go out on Fridays. So, and like I said, I was never getting too sloppy drunk. Like, I still had my limits. Like, yeah, man, you know, we're balling up and we're doing all these things, but like, I was still keeping it cute. So, around the time when I left Toronto, I was talking to someone. I was dealing with somebody, and obviously we couldn't continue. Like, I'm moving to New York. I shouldn't have been dealing with that person in the first place, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I was dealing with someone at the time. So once I moved up, like I was still trying to text him or whatever, but he was moving weird because, like, I mean, obviously I can't blame you. Like, I don't even live by you anymore, but he was moving weird. Like, why are you mad at me? Like, you knew what this was going to be. Like, I left. So we end up having this like argument. Child, I would have told you that was my first heartbreak. That was the day, oh my gosh, Janae Aiko dropped this song. I have to remember the name. What was the song? None of Your Concern. The same day I had that heartbreak was the same day Janae Aiko dropped None of Your Concern. Child, I must have played that song at least 100 times, at least 150 times. All I know is I had it on replay, and at the same time, I had a gala to get ready for. So literally, guys, I'm here in the shower crying to None of Your Concern over God knows what. Crying over God knows what. And I get ready, and I get cute, and I go to a gala, and I go have the time of my life. And Problem Child was there, I think. Who sings, I want to give it to ya, I want to give it to ya, I want ya balance. I think that's Problem Child, but he performed at the gala, like, it was lit. I'm going to add those clips and everything as well. But after that, and this was pretty early into the semester too. After that, guys, this is when I downloaded Tinder. Oh, I got on them dating apps, y'all. I got on them dating apps. Like, I got on them dating apps, y'all. Like, remember when I was talking earlier about subconscious and not dealing with your emotions and whatever? One of the byproducts of that is like filling your space with people so that you don't have to be alone and sit and think about your thoughts, right? So, guys, I got on Tinder. Oh, God. And that's why I say, guys, if there was a Jeffrey Dahmer in that area, if there was a Ted Bundy, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. Because what do you mean I'm linking you at your house on the first meetup? I don't know you from nowhere. This is my first time meeting you and I'm in your house? I'm in your... Yo, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to get too deep into it because yes, this is a story time. Yes, this is me giving off my testimony, but I'm never going to have nobody too much in my business. I am so sorry. I'm still taking some things to the grave. But y'all, I had no business being on them apps, but let me tell you. So I end up meeting this guy that goes to my school and we're texting and whatever. And we had never met in person, but we had met each other basically off of Tinder. So one night I'm in my dorm, I'm doing my work, I'm basically already ready for bed. I believe I've showered, everything, and we're on FaceTime and I'm talking about how I'm craving Applebee's, and he's talking about how, oh, he would really love some Applebee's too. So I'm like, oh my gosh, should we go to Applebee's? So he's like, yeah, let's go to Applebee's, da 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 da. But if I'm being honest, I was more so leaning towards staying in the dorm. He was the one who was kind of like more so like, yeah, let's go, pushing it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. So he meets me at my dorm. And again, I take it upon myself to say, okay, I'm going to call the Ubers because me here assuming, okay, we're going to Applebee's. I'm with someone who calls himself a man. So he's going to pay for the food. So let me pay for the Ubers. Don't do that shit. Don't do that stuff, guys. Don't do that ish. Don't do that. Don't do that ish, bro. So I'm like, okay, let me call the Uber. The Uber was like $9, but still, I'm a broke college student with no job. $9 is a lot of freaking money. And mind you, again, we had dining halls, so I didn't really have to worry about buying food. So my money at this point was pretty much going to my hair, clothes, ganja, liquor, and party tickets. That was pretty much it. So I'm like, okay, let me call the Uber. So we go, we go to Applebee's and you know, I order me a cute little hash browns, eggs, bacon, you know, cute little meal. He orders a big specialty pancake. He gets himself a specialty smoothie and the eggs and the bacon and whatever. So at this point in time, me and my roommate were still cool. So my roommate asked me to get her some food. So I ordered her some food separately. And I love the US. Her food was literally $4, bro. Anyways, so I ordered her for some food separately. And I told the waitress, this is going to be separate because, you know, I'm here in my mind. He's paying for the food. I'm not going to make him pay for my roommate's food as well. Y'all, we eat, we have a good conversation, whatever. And I want to say it was pretty late at night, maybe like 11 or 12. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Applebee's is 24 hours or something like that. So the server comes and brings the receipt and she puts the receipt down on the table, but she puts down two receipts. She puts down the receipt for my roommate's food and the receipt for our food. So, okay, I grabbed the receipt with my roommate's food. I see it was like $4.50 or something like that. So I'm like, okay, cool, calm. We're still talking. I'm asking him if he's ready to go. I'm about to call the Uber. So we get up. And I see he makes no movements to grab the receipt off the table. So I'm like, okay, let me just grab the receipt. Maybe he forgot it. Let me just grab the receipt. We get to the register and I pay for my roommate's food. And then she tells us the total for our food. And he's looking at me. And it was looking at me. And it was looking at him. But she was looking at me. And I was looking... Guys, he's just looking at me like he's clueless, like he's never been to a restaurant before. He doesn't know this is the time to pay. But me, in my body who hates shame and embarrassment, I just paid. I just paid. So that means I paid for the Uber to get to the Applebee's. I paid for the food at Applebee's. And then I paid for the Uber to get back home. Mind you guys, I was ready to be in my dorm for the rest of the night. I spent over $50. I had no plans to leave my dorm for the night. And to this day, I don't know why I paid, because I literally could have told her to just separate out my food and I could have gotten the Uber by myself and went by my business, because I literally never spoke to him ever again. But this is the little dumb stuff I'm talking about. Like, you just start doing shit, bro. Like, when you have too much freedom without the knowledge, you just start doing stuff. You don't think about it. And I used to always call myself impulsive. I'm so impulsive. Oh my gosh, I'm an Aries. I'm impulsive. I'm an Aries. I'm impulsive. Oh, I'm living my life. I'm do it for the plot. Do it for the plot. Doing it for the plot on my way to possible death. Like, come on. Like, guys, like, one of the people, but mind you, I'm actually not going to get too deep into my business, but yeah. And another one of them I ended up meeting, he was a little bit older. So child, now I was playing house. I was up in that house with the dog. That dog started recognizing me and loving me. And I'm here playing house with a stranger. And mind you, you would think when I'm meeting these, okay, I'm not going to talk like it was been 15, 20 people. I want to say I probably met 5 guys off of that, basically off of Tinder, because I did meet people, like, you know, just being outside and socializing. But in terms of Tinder, I think it was about 5 guys. And you think I would be asking them, oh, what's your first and last name? Ciao. I cannot tell you these people's names. Some of them, I couldn't even tell you their name while I was in their house. Like, I'm telling you, I was just doing stuff. And that's why I said, if there was a Jeffrey Dahmer, I would have carried myself like this on a platter to a serial killer, just doing stuff, not recognizing that I'm fighting to fill my time because I'm avoiding a lot of negative emotion. Because again, I moved with the anxiety. I didn't leave the anxiety in Toronto. It came with me. The depression came with me. The suicidal thoughts came with me. So I have all these things that I'm battling in my brain, and I'm not praying. I'm not really talking to the Lord. I didn't really have a relationship with God. I didn't have a relationship with God, period, at this point. Let's just be honest. So it's like, I'm just doing stuff. Like, I'm not thinking about possible side consequences. Basically, all in all, I'm not caring about my life. And that's what it is. Call a spade a spade. I was not caring about my life. So I was just doing stuff. And the only reason I'm sitting right here and talking about this, no one would have ever known. But I just have to talk, because if it helps somebody, if someone is able to think and like, wow, like, I went through that too, I thought I was the only one, or, oh, I was going to do that, let me not do it, then that's all that matters to me, because I'm a new creation in Christ. So yeah, like, that's basically that. Like, I was meeting people in class, like, and I was on one too. Like, I'd be at a party and 2 or 3 of my hoes will be there, and I'll make sure each one of my hoes got a dance. Everyone would get them their little greeting, their little hi, their little but that's not me anymore. That happened with the guy at Applebee's. I'm still going out. I'm still doing good in my classes, whatever. So at this point, me and my roommate stopped being as cool. And it's not necessarily like we had a fallout per se. It's just, you know, when you're one way with somebody and you can just notice that they start treating you differently. And it was her and my other, oh my gosh, I didn't even bring up that other roommate. So I had my roommate that was in the same room as me. My roommate that was in the same room as me, we're going to call her Pineapple. We're going to call her Pineapple. And then the roommate that was like in the same suite, but in another room, we're going to call her Strawberry. So Pineapple, me and Strawberry were really cool. Like, right off the meet, as soon as we moved in, we were cool. Like, Strawberry moved in having had like a surgery pretty recently, like before we moved in. And, you know, I think within the first few nights of us all meeting each other, we had to take her to the hospital because we didn't like how her wound was looking. So me, Pineapple, and Strawberry, we were really close. Like, we were outside gallivanting together. We were going out with each other. So randomly, we just stopped being as cool. I don't know what I did. I'm sure there's a good possibility I did something. Like, I'm not somebody who believes I'm perfect or anything. There's a good possibility I did something, but they just started treating me differently. So I started getting even more lonely. And at this time, me and Pineapple used to go out with this other girl that we met on the group chat before we ever moved into school. But we had cut that girl off because when we would be going to parties with her, she would be getting so drunk that it was embarrassing. Like, when you're with somebody who's so drunk that people are giving you weird looks. Like, she was stumbling and slurring and yeah, so we ended up cutting her off. So once my roommates started giving me the cold shoulder, and one of the only other friends I had was my roommate's hometown friend. So it was like, I really ain't had nobody for real. And at the same time, I wasn't even really communicating with my friends back home as much because, again, all through high school, all through my life, I've always had this pride of I'm the person who has it together. I'm the person who doesn't need help. So when I'm in these moments and I am struggling at that time, I did not have the strength to let people know I was struggling. So everybody thought it was gravy. If you're watching my snap, you probably thought I was having the time of my life, but no, it was hard. I was struggling. I was depressed. I was crying myself to sleep. But yeah, me and my roommate never really ended up having a conversation as to like what happened, but we just went from being really cool one day into one day I went on my Snapchat like this, and then I saw that Pineapple, Strawberry, and the other friend we used to hang out with were all at the mall. Oh, I was so heartbroken, guys. I was in that room crying, but because again, we're in the same room, right? So our beds are like across the way from each other. I'm just in the bed. But this is where I met my homegirl, Sasha. Shout out to Sasha. I'm going to add clips of me and Sasha in this video that will let you guys understand why we are. Me and Sasha are for lifers. It doesn't matter how far we live apart, how long it's been. That's my girl for life because she really stepped into my life at that time. And it's like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't end up meeting her. I would have had a terrible time because I did have other little connections based off of the group chats we made before school, but like I wasn't really hanging out with them or anything like that. It was just like a social media thing. So Sasha gave me that person to myself again, my person to like, we would start meeting in the dining hall and eating, and I started doing her hair, and her hair I didn't do that bad. And that's my girl. That's my girlie. Hey. Okay, so obviously by the end of the semester, I had to move back home. I literally auctioned off my stuff. I damn near did a garage sale. I gave away so many things. So by the time that my dad did end up picking me up, I was so much lighter than when he dropped me off. But it was just... Oh, I wish I could talk to that version of me right now and just comfort her and let her know, like, it's okay. It's okay to try. It's okay to be, like, it's okay for people to watch you trying. If you try something and it doesn't work, now is not the time to worry about, oh, what are people gonna think? What is it gonna look like? Oh, people know me as this strong badass, like people know me about this girl who gets it done. And that's always who I've been, a leader, like that's always. And it's not necessarily bad for me to be that person, but I never used to give myself grace. I had no mercy on myself. I just for real forgive myself for a lot of the mistakes I've made before, because I had to realize, like, the way I was socialized to be that way. For me to be like the reckless things I was doing, it was as a result of the way, I was raised and the things I wasn't taught and things like that. So moving back, oof, this is a dark period in my life, because when I moved back, it felt like I failed, and I was a terrible friend when I first moved back for New York, and for a while after that. Like, I was a bad friend, because like, if for me it felt like my high school friends knew me, right? So a big part of my pride didn't necessarily want to let them see me in such a dark place, because it felt like I would have to drop my mask. It felt like I would have to be vulnerable and talk about all these things that I was struggling with and continue to struggle with. So it was a dark period. And at this time, again, you guys know how Haitian parents could be. Like, my mom is coming at me in terms of a way, I told you you should never go. I told you you should have never went. Like, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? What a waste of money. You're just wasting your life away. What a terrible decision. And da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da. And that's what I was hearing for months and months and months and months. Like, it was like a year later and she would still be bringing it up. So it was like, it even added to the lies the enemy was already telling me, that I was a failure. And you know what, but guys, I was literally just 19. Like, literally 19. I was 18, I tried something, it didn't work. I'm 19, my life is still ahead of me. It's not like, you know, it could have been so much worse. So yeah, shortly after I moved back, by January 2020, I ended up getting hired at Old Navy. And by March 17th, 2020, lockdown, COVID lockdown. And now we're all stuck in our houses. So now I have to, I'm sorry. Forgive me, Haitian parents, but sometimes it's un pile parler en pile, bro. Sometimes it's a lot. And it's like, I'm saying, like, I can tell, like, it wasn't always just about me. Like, think about it. Our parents grew up in a place that put them in a survival mode. Like, my dad didn't graduate elementary school till he was 18. Like, my parents grew up in poverty, so they're on a survival mode. So for them, yes, every day is life or death. Every year of your life is life or death. But they're not realizing part of the blessing of you guys bringing us to this big country means that we do get to make mistakes. And making mistakes are a very big part of learning. And that's why sometimes you see our parents, there's mistakes they made in their life. How long did it take them to learn from it? How long? Maybe if you had a childhood where your mistakes were not met with judgment, you would feel confident in taking risks, confident in trying new things. So yeah, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I was super bad, depressed. And mind you, again, I came back with the freshman 40 straight into lockdown, and I started putting on more weight. And then you guys again know how Haitian parents are. Oh, like, y'all, I felt like I couldn't catch a break. I felt like I could not catch a break. Oh my gosh. Okay, so once COVID started, lockdown started, we're stuck in the house. I don't know who told me to download U-Boat. I don't know who sent me to download U-Boat, but I was on U-Boat. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna get too deep into it because the shame still haunts me at night. Like, that level of shame still keeps me up when I think about it too deep. But oh my gosh, I was being such a follower. Like, why are we on here cussing people out just cause? Telling people that they're built like calculators and they're built like a fridge. Like, why are we getting on here dissing people for no reason? Like, oh my gosh, guys, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. But why did I thrive in that environment is because these people don't know me. So I get to be whoever I want in front of these people because they don't have a past reference of what I used to be like or what I'm usually like. So, oof, guys, I don't think I can insert any clips. I don't. The only thing I got out of that period of my life is my two friends, Jorday and Kade. That is the only thing I got, was 2 more for lifer friends, and I haven't made another friend since. What is that? I think I met them in 2020. Yeah, it's been 6 years. I haven't made another friend since, and I don't plan on it. But, you know, oh my gosh, like it was just such an embarrassing time. But like, you know, like I said, strict parents breeding sneaky kids. I had come back from New York. I was used to the freedom I just had in New York. I didn't have to tell nobody I was going out or what time I'm coming home, and I came home whatever I wanted in New York. And you want me to come back to Toronto and I can't go nowhere anymore? Not even I have a curfew, I just can't go nowhere, period. Yo, all I have to say is my child could not get an overnight job. If my child get an overnight job, I have to be the one to drop them off, and I have to watch with my 2 eyes them walk into the building and clock in before I believe they're at the overnight job. And that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I can't release all of my tricks. That's the problem. Some people be sharing too much. It's some things you gotta take to the grave. Some things gotta just stay between you and the Lord, or you and your homegirls. When I got the receipts and saw that I received $16,000 from Serb, and at the moment I got that receipt, I had nothing to show for it. First of all, how did I get $16,000 in Serb? And yes, I bought me a car, but I ended up buying a car with issues, a car with no AC. The car was broken from the day I got it. I had to replace the transmission computer or whatever. I had to do a $900 fix like the week after getting the car. They give you $16,000 and you scrap up $2,000 to go buy you a dege car. Oh my gosh, guys. By the time I was done with that car, you could hear me coming from a mile away. The car was so loud. Oh my gosh, the car would be jerking like it was so bad. It was so bad. $16,000, but they knew what they were doing. Why would you give little old 19-year-old me $16,000? And obviously we were gonna plunder that money, especially if we don't have that financial literacy background from home. Like, oh my gosh, I wasted that money. But what I did have the sense to do was put me some money aside. So this is how I was gonna plan my second runaway. So despite me spending a lot of my Serb, I did save a good chunk of it as well. So I started saving. At this point in time, my parents had helped me pay off the $20,000 tab. So now my tab was cleared. I was able to get my transcripts from Albany, and I was able to reapply, and I got into the University of Windsor again, and I accepted. So after I had finished doing some online class during like the thick of COVID, then once lockdown was lifted and everything like that, I immediately started looking into moving to Windsor. So I saved me my little money. I have me my little, what do you call it again? My hoopty. I have my hoopty with me, and I moved to Windsor. I transferred from one Old Navy to another. My rent was $450. My car insurance was like, oh my gosh, I was still on my dad's car insurance, so it was like one something. Oh my gosh, those were the days. Car insurance, one something. I didn't have no big bills, but y'all, this is where the story really begins. This is where I really started to make my stupidest decisions. This is where the pride, the ego really got me. This is where the devil, this is the only time in my life where I could say, yeah, the devil, he almost had me for real. He almost had me. And it was when I moved to Windsor. I moved to Windsor. It was all good for a little while. And then I ended up meeting the devil in the form of a man. Not too much, because I do pray for that guy. I do pray he's doing better in life now, but that guy was the weapon formed against me. I met the weapon formed against me, guys. And I'm going to leave it at that. So, yeah, I forgot a part, but I'm going to leave you guys with this. So just before I moved to Windsor, in the July, it was Stephanie's birthday, and I moved to Windsor in August of 2021. So we went to Niagara. We're having a good time for Steph's birthday. Turn up. And remember, I kept telling you guys, I'm calling myself impulsive. Oh, do it for the plot. YOLO. So we go to the beach in Niagara, and Steph and I go to the bathroom, but when we come back, we see that our group is already in the water, and not only that, our other friends are on these jet skis. So we're like, oh, so these people with jet skis in the water, we're giving people rides for free. Cool. Stephanie and I decide we want to go. I don't know why in my head, because there was 2 other girls who wanted to go as well. I don't know why in my head I'm like, oh, let me and Stephanie go on one when we could have easily just take turns. Me and Stephanie go on this jet ski, plus the lady riding the jet ski. There's only 2 life jackets. Stephanie puts on the life jacket. I don't have a life jacket on. I cannot swim. I am inebriated. I'm here telling Stephanie, oh, you have this life jacket on for the both of us. You got this life jacket on for the both of us. Ah! Guys, we start riding. Everything is cool. Then the lady makes one turn. Why do we all fly off of the jet ski? I cannot swim. I do not have a life jacket on. So at first I'm panicking. And I start grabbing onto the lady that's riding the jet ski. But I think for my panicking, she can realize I can't swim. So the jet ski, for some reason, I guess she didn't have anything on her ankle like that attaches to the jet ski. So the jet ski takes off. So she is now swimming after the jet ski. Or it's not like on, but it's floating away. So now it's just me and Stephanie there. Guys, I can't swim, but I know like how to, I think this is just diving. So I'm here doing one of these, just pushing myself up and up because I don't know how to tread water. So I'm just pushing myself up above the water. Mind you, fresh brand new wig. My wig came off of my head. Did my wig come off my head or did Stephanie have to rip it off? I'm pretty sure Stephanie had to rip off my wig because it was weighing me down. She rips my fresh wig off my head, rips my lashes off, and we do end up sharing the life jacket because I literally have to hang on to Steph for dear life. And the both of us are in the middle of the water screaming for help at the beach. We're looking at the beach. No one can hear us. It's close enough to see we're screaming help, but obviously no one can hear us. And yeah.
Smoothie, no regular. No. Pretty for real, I'm pretty pa my cellular. No.